So, Joe, we have some big transfer portal news that's continuing to hit the headlines here. You want to start off here? Let's start off here. I know you got a lot of pushback for posting this guy's film, but Patrick Payton has committed and signed to LSU. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I brought up to not fully address the Florida State fans that were salty about his performance this year. This to me is a really underrated signing because Patrick Payton coming into 2024 had a lot of upside. He was highly regarded in NFL draft circles. He was one of my highest rated edge prospects coming into the year because he is long, he's flexible, and he's also quite powerful for how thin he is. He can be a really good run defender when he chooses to. He can be a really productive pass rusher.
His tackles for losses are in the run game.
Exactly. I understand that Florida State fans want to point out that this kid didn't give full effort. And that was something that when you talk to people in the NFL, that was the concern, was that is he going to give and show up to the same extent in 2024 when he had to be the guy? And he didn't. The whole team didn't show up. It is hard when you're on a bad football team to have the focus and the desire and the motivation on a week-to-week basis when clearly there is something going on behind closed doors that we don't know about. We can't put that on the young man because we don't know what was going on. The reason why I say that this,
we have a pretty good idea. They went 2-10.
Well, we have an idea, but we just don't. My point is that like we don't know what was the driving force of this.
Right,
was it the coaching staff? Was it the roster? Was it personal issues? We don't know, which is why I'm not the biggest fan of coming at these kids and saying, they're pieces of garbage that he didn't try this year. Good luck to LSU. This is a shit pickup. It is such an irrational, insulting thing for fans to do to say that. But I talk about Patrick Payton going into a coaching staff with the best defensive line coach in the country to be amongst a group of guys that are going to help accentuate with, young players that could be stepping up that were 4- and 5-star players. This defensive line could take a huge step forward. I say this to say that Patrick Payton could go out there and he could have decent production and just be a decent contributor and play well. Or he could go on to be like Princely Humamielen, who a lot of people question his character and his focus and his effort and his desire. Patrick Payton could go on to be a first-round pick if everything goes well. If Braden Swinson can be as productive as he was this year, I see similarities, and I think that Patrick Payton is another underrated add for this LSU portal class.
So here's the thing. I went and watched him a lot, meaning Patrick Payton, in the last couple of days, weeks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, he went – so they had a game against against Boston College that they had. Dude had 4 tackles for loss. And you're trying to convince me at the current moment, all of them are on run plays. And I'm looking at it right now, the statistics. You're trying to convince me at the current moment that he was the problem when you literally had DJU that went below 50% completion percentage, threw for 272 yards, had 3 turnovers. That's what you're trying to convince me of. So yesterday when I went and watched the Boise State film, keep seeing Boise State because we just got done talking about him. When I keep going and watching the Boston College film, and I see him dominating in the running game, when I go and I look at the Miami film, when I go and look at all these different films, when I go and look at 2023 when he was surrounded by other defensive tackles that can play, and he had 70 pressures. Joe, he had 70 pressures in 2023. That's more than Braden Fisk and Jared Verse combined. Like that's the part that I'm trying to make here. And by the way, he was a big catalyst of guys having Jaden Daniels, and I saw this with my own eyes, where Jaden Daniels has got a scramble left and Jared Verse is the beneficiary of Patrick Payton being a speedster off the edge. Here's the thing. Don McKinley, 5-star defensive tackle. Bo Davis goes and gets Sadir Mitchell. Jacoby and Guillory returns. Jack Pyburns, physical in the run game. You go and get Butler. Joe, they've recruited 3 top 50 edges that are also developing here under Kevin Peoples. You're going to now have to convince me that the situations are equal.
Okay, so this is the whole thing that and I hate I know it sounds like today I'm on one with reacting to fans. I hate overreacting to fans because anyone who follows me knows I love going back and forth and being positive with people. Like, it's one of my favorite things. For example, on Friday, I posted Siobhan Ravel, who's going to be a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. I posted his tape. ECU's head coach retweeted me. I have all these player personnel people retweeting me and people commenting like he's a great young man. Those are the interactions I like. I'm just so pissed off at this that we're trying to like knock this kid for something that he can't control. And you talked about it is so deflating being on the field when you're giving effort and there is effort on tape and you're down by 3 scores because your offense is turning the ball over.
Well, hold on. In the beginning of the season against Boston College, they were down 7. Okay, Boston College got the ball back. I literally went and watched this. They ran the ball 3 times. He got 2 tackles for loss. There were moments, and this is why even your other co-host Ryan, where I was asking questions to him, and I'm trying to get into debate with him. You're calling him soft, and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if I would go that far.
I just
they were 2-10. Are there moments and times where he took off plays where he didn't try to track down people? I can't deny that. Nobody is trying to deny that. But you brought up Braden Swinson.
Right, a high potential kid who needed a little time, and this year he was really productive and he played well. And look, the effort there for
By the way, what happens if Harold Perkins comes back? What happens if you have this defensive line that you went and got, and you're going to have to guard, you're going to have to scheme up against somebody that it's a completely different situation here, Joe.
The effort definitely needs to be more consistent, which I don't mind bringing up, but you're talking about like so many people were nitpicking me saying like, what do you mean by situation? Oh, he's got to have Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. Yeah, no shit that's going to lead to a lot of production, but he's stepping into a team that's going to be very competitive this upcoming year and is going to be a lot better defensively. So yes, that is the situation I'm referring to, being on a team.
Well, hold on. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse didn't benefit from the 70 pressures that he generated?
Well, right. Like it's I don't know. I don't like this logic that I've been getting from
the
Florida
logic
State
either,
fans.
but I promise you this. LSU went and got 4, Joe, a third of their portal haul have been on the D-line.
And it needed to be. That's one thing. That's one thing that
and now you have 2 5-star DTs that are coming in here. The last time that we saw Don McKinley, the number 2 defensive tackle in high school last year, what did he do? He had 2 sacks. Like, again, you can think that I'm being a homer here. Okay, whatever.
You're not. You and I didn't even talk about Patrick Payton at all until I started tweeting about him.
I know.
I just tweeted up because I like the kid. I think he's a good player.
Well, I don't want my hand involved in what you think about a kid. Not on LSU's team. Listen to me. I'm telling you something. Kid's going to be special. I feel it. Kevin Peoples is a great coach. If they can turn what they did last year into what the production that Joe, they're better defensively in the front 7. I'm just going to call it like I see it. I mean, they had to do it. And look, what happens? What is this effort like when they go up to Ole Miss and they're playing for a playoff spot? You think he loves thin?
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number 1 source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.